Good morning. As Dean of the School of Health and Rehabilitation Sciences, it is my pleasure to welcome you to this convocation. Today, we recognize and celebrate the accomplishments of our August and December graduates. Our national anthem and alma mater will be sung this morning by Cecilia Long, who is a student in our undergraduate program in rehabilitation science. Would everyone please rise if you are able and join us in singing of the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Beautiful job. Thank you, Cecilia. Please be seated. It is my pleasure to introduce you to our Recognition Day speaker, Dr. McAllis Hogan. This fall, after a nationwide search, Dr. Hogan rose to the top in a long line of candidates and was named the David Silver Professor and Chair of Pitt's Department of Orthopedic Surgery and Chair of Orthopedic Surgery at UPMC. However, he is not new to Pitt and UPMC. He was already well on his way to becoming an internationally known foot surgeon as UPMC's Chief of Foot and Ankle Surgery. Dr. Hogan is responsible for establishing a state-of-the-art foot center through the Foot and Ankle Injury Research, or FAIR group, at Pitt. Currently, he serves as the foot and ankle consultant for the athletic departments here at Pitt, CMU, Duquesne, and Robert Morris Universities. He's the assistant team physician for Point Park University, including the Conservancy of the Performing Arts and the Pittsburgh Ballet Theater. Dr. Hogan also serves as the foot and ankle consultant for the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Pittsburgh Penguins as part of the UPMC sports medicine operation. In 2018, he was selected as Diversity MBA's top 100 under 50 executive leaders and was named one of modern healthcare's top 15 up-and-comers as an emerging national leader in healthcare. Dr. Hogan is well known for his passion and commitment in community-based care and will greatly benefit, which will be greatly beneficial to Western Pennsylvania. I have a lot of gray hair, and I've been in academia a long time. I've met a lot of people, and I know you know when you meet someone who's going to be a difference maker, and you're going to hear from a difference maker. Mac, this is your podium.
Well, I greatly appreciate that. And I always, when I leave my home each day, and my wife appropriately puts me into my place, I say, great, I needed to be anchored appropriately, and hopefully someone will say something nice about me later in the day. And Tony always already filled that for me on the Saturday. But I also only joke about my wife when she's not present so that I may survive to the next joke. So, but with that, when Tony actually reached out to me and asked me to provide the graduation speech to this great class, I really actually replied to him, and I wanted to ask him in person, like, are you sure you emailed the right person? And it's been a great joy and an honor and privilege to be here to speak to each of you and your families, particularly at a place in this hall, just a beautiful building, and respectfully in this city and in this university. Top program in the country, great leadership, great friends. And also, what I like to say about Pittsburgh, you're in an environment where everything that's happening in healthcare is happening here. And so with that, I'm going to just give you just a few pearls, and then they actually asked me for a title. And again, I said, well, I thought people just showed up and started talking. I never actually knew there was a title on the program. And then I was reminded this is what you do at top institutions, not those places you went to, Mac. So, again, we have to have a little fun this morning. So a couple of things. When I actually came up with this title and concept of, a map, life is truly an unexpected journey. And this is just another phase and a conduit of progress, this experience you've had here and those that you will continue to have. And particularly, but it's a great time when you actually are able to celebrate positive things in a world that is not so simple, when in an environment that is quite complex, and particularly in a universe of which there are more questions than answers. And so with that, a few pearls that I've gained over time, and again, just messages. And I like to also say, everything that I'm saying has been borrowed from somewhere, whether it has been borrowed from my experiences, those that are from others who have instilled in me to this point or had faith, and also those who have not had faith in the environments I've been in. But I will start in the beginning. So one of the first pearls on this unexpected journey, I grew up in a small town called Muscle Shoals, Alabama. And my parents are still there. I have one brother who's 10 years older than me. So I was fortunate. My father and my brother were essentially mentors, right? When you have a brother or a sibling who's 10 years older than you are, you're essentially a nuisance to them. and with that, they love you, but they enlighten you. And so one of the first message I would give to you, and it actually will help you get through this period of suffering as I'm talking to you. One, it could always be worse. Things could always be worse. My father taught me that at a very early age. And so when we talk now in life about perseverance, resilience, it's really perspective. And he reminded me when I was at a young age, he said, regardless of whatever happens to you in life, it always could be worse. And that actually gets you to the next point. And if you really think about most things, no matter how complex they may be, no matter how difficult they may be, or the challenges, things could always be worse. So I'll give another couple of examples. At the end of the day, this may be one of the worst commencement speeches you've ever heard, but remember, it could always be worse, right? I ask my wife sometimes, we have two beautiful daughters who are 7 and 10 now, and I ask her, we met during medical school when we were at Howard College of Medicine, and I actually ask her from time to time the loaded question that I think every significant other or spouse or friend may ask, is where we are now what you expected, right? And each year, her responses get longer and longer pause. She's trying to decide, does this guy really want to know what I'm about to say to him? But I always remind her, remember my perspective, no matter what you say, it could always be worse, right? And so that allows us to grow stronger together. And with that, the journey from Alabama. So when I was in 3rd grade, our house burned down. I remember we were traveling with my father, who was at the time worked in economic development. I remember exactly where we were. We were in the state of Oklahoma because he was working through graduate school. And my brother, older, the teenager, the guy who gets to hang back home, he was home at my grandmother's house. My dad, we pulled back into the hotel we were staying at. My mom and I were with him. And back then, there was no email, right, in the 80s. There was no email. There was also essentially, cell phones were not even that big back then, right? No one really had one. And we walked into the hotel lobby, and the hotel lobby person said, "I need to speak to you, Mr. Hogan." I never forget it. And then he walks back over to us, and he says, "The house caught fire. Everything's gone," essentially. And my aunt lived in front of us. Our cousins lived to the left and right, the beauty of growing up in a rural environment in the South. And they got a few things out. But for the most part, the home was gone. And so I remember my dad, he seemed unshaken by it to a degree. You know, we prayed, and he said, "Remember, I always told you things could be worse. We'll get back home and we'll figure it out." So we lived in a trailer for 2 years. Those, when I look back on it, were the best 2 years of my life. Because what he did was, you do all these things to try to make up for lost things, right? Particularly when your kids are young, particularly this time of year as we all think about what are we going to try to get for our families for Christmas. I got a four-wheeler 1 week, and 2 months later, I got a black Labrador Retriever puppy. And I remember thinking to myself, there's no way in the world my mom would have gotten us a puppy. But our house burned down, and I was like, you know what? Out with the house, in with the pup. And his name was Bear. And for 2 years, we lived in that trailer. Again, it was family, it was life, as we rebuilt our home in a different city. But that was a change. That was a transition point, a conduit to different things. I had to change schools because my dad said, we're moving. So I was going from 4th to 5th grade, the journey. And I said, well, why would we move? And he said, well, we were thinking about it. This is probably the best time. So we moved across town, I changed schools. New friends, individuals. We were not that far from where I'd been in elementary school, but it was a big deal. But we go there, and again, he said it always could be worse. And it did become worse. We moved to a neighborhood where eventually we had to give up the puppy. My dad was like, you really can't take a farm Labrador Retriever to a subdivision. This guy's gonna be everywhere. So that was fine. We found a nice home for Bear with our family. And then he said, you have to give up the four-wheeler, but I'll let you keep it for a little while because you can't be too loud in this new neighborhood we're going to. And so I said, well, hold on. I thought this is very short-lived, these things. However, it was perspective. And so fast forward until I was a high school senior, and this is where, again, when you think about how things could always be worse. Senior in high school, had a very strong interest in healthcare and medicine, and I lived in Alabama, not much different than Pittsburgh. The only thing that mattered then was food, football, and religion. Done. Those were the three most important things in life. And particularly in Alabama, football was important. And unfortunately for all of us right now, people are not necessarily happy with football in this city. But again, remember, things could also always be worse. So my senior year in high school, and this goes to the next bridge from how do you manage things being worse to building relationships. So my senior year in high school, I had an interest in either medicine or engineering or pharmacy, had no idea. But my brother was a chemical engineer. I knew he was much smarter than I was. I didn't like math that much, so I had some decisions to make. 8th game of the season. I'm a fullback. I think I'm bigger than life. Everybody's happy. Team's undefeated. It's the classic orthopedic story. I have a fracture dislocation in the middle of a game. Hockey stick, the ones that ESPN plays over and over again just to see if you saw it the first time, right? And at that time, my dad was in the stands. The opposing team's physician came out onto the field, and he reduced my ankle, put it straight, right, the things you think about, put me in a splint and said, hey, son, we're going to take you to the ER. My dad says to him, thank you. The guy then says to him, Coach Hogan, is this your son? 15 years prior, my dad was a school teacher when he was working through grad school in economics, and he coached a 7th grade basketball team, and this guy was on it. My dad knew he had come back to the area, but he did not know he was covering games. And literally on the field, he said, is this your boy? And he said, yes, this is my son. He said, we'll take good care of him. Relationships, that's the next pearl. Relationships are critical to what you do in life and actually how you move forward or how you move backward or remain in the same place. You want to surround yourself with people who actually have passions not always similar to yours or not always directly aligned, but at least individuals who are trying to move forward and have a positive and optimistic perspective when you're actually interacting with them. You never know when it may come back. So essentially, he fixed my ankle. I was devastated. You're a senior in high school. I knew I was never going to go to the pros. I was too short, but I was quite fast and stout. However, the guy said to me, I watch football games on Friday and I call it work. You should think about orthopedic surgery. True story. He said, Friday nights, I can hang out, watch football, what I enjoy doing, so you really should think about this. So I shout out this gentleman every summer, every holiday. He's a perfect community orthopedic surgeon. He's fixed my mom's rotator cuff. He's replaced my mom's hip. All from the beginning of fixing my ankle, but also from the original relationships he developed with my father. And he remembered a positive relationship, and it came back to him at that time. So you never know when the person on the opposing sideline may be your grace toward progress. And so with that, from relationships, you want to follow your passions. So once I actually was able to make it through undergrad, I went to New Orleans and I made it out. Went to Xavier, New Orleans, and I actually made it out of New Orleans. Again, I'm not sure how my dad convinced my mother to allow me to do that. But it also tied into relationships. I had one of my best friends from high school. We went to the same undergrad. We went to the same med school. We now are the godfather of each other's first daughters, and he is also an orthopedic surgeon in the state of Mississippi. And so you really want to surround yourself with individuals and relationships, as Tony mentioned here, who are actually going to continue to drive you and push you. In each of the fields that each of you are going to go into, and particularly in the environment of healthcare, collaboration is key. How you build toward collaborating or perishing is essentially the future. And with that, as you follow your passions, a few more perspectives to think about with that. One, you want to educate yourself. You're doing that here. But you must be willing to ask questions that take you out of your comfort zone. As I similarly said to you, I asked my wife, are you happy with the fact that we got married? How do you feel today? I have to become comfortable each day with asking questions that I may not want the answer to at the time. I think all of us need to think about it in our daily venues. When you drive into healthcare, you're in a city here which is beautiful. You've trained in an environment and educated yourself in an environment where everything that is happening in healthcare in the world is happening here in Pittsburgh. This is what I tell my residents every day. This week we just interviewed 100 applicants for our orthopedic program for 8 spots. And I said, this is the place where everything is happening. And so you have to make the most of it. You want to evolve toward listening to understand versus listening to respond. I struggle with this because I'm a talker. Most of the people who are on this stage who are friends of mine, this is a perspective that I had to learn, and I always work on it. When you're listening to someone to respond to them, you're never embracing what they're really telling you. But if you're listening to them to understand them, then your response when it occurs will actually be either uplifting, more positive or optimistic, and quite frankly, more people will talk to you about things. And so therefore you will learn more, not just from yourself, but from others around you. You want to integrate and think big. Focus on the relationships that you have and building out your resources and sharing. Don't have tunnel vision. You want to engage your environment, and you want to meet people where they are. That actually takes you out of your comfort zone. And that's actually what brought me here. So when Dr. Freddie Fu, my chair who I took the place of, who unfortunately passed just a little over a year ago from cancer, when I met him as a second year in the lab at the University of Virginia. I was in my residency. He was already bigger than life. And I was the guy who had to give him his tour. Simple as that. I have to give him his tour for 2 or 3 days. And for those who knew Dr. Fu, he was a ball of energy. I had never seen anything like it. And he said, you know where you're going, so you're going to drive my car everywhere we go, and I will follow you everywhere we need to go. And I said, okay. He left a pearl in that relationship. We were driving in his car on his last day. He said, you should think about moving to Pittsburgh. And I kind of laughed, and I thought he was just being modest. And I said, well, I don't plan to go into sports medicine. I'm thinking about doing foot and ankle surgery. He said, we need people like that too. That's all he would say. And 3 years later, my brother-in-law moved to Pittsburgh. So again, my wife and I came through the Squirrel Hill Tunnel. We visited him. You find out there's a city hiding on the other side of those mountains. And I essentially emailed Dr. Fu, and he emailed me back immediately, relationships, and said, oh, you should come visit. From there, 5 years later, I came, and now I had the honor and privilege of taking his position and transitioning into a role where he built essentially a monument of sports medicine and healthcare innovation in Pittsburgh. And it was built out of relationships with this strong school, with individuals such as Tony, others who are here on stage, Dr. Eargang, and a number of individuals who, quite frankly, he was willing to leave his comfort zone, push an environment such as Pittsburgh to evolve beyond its comfort zone to do great things. So In the end, you also want to execute on your passions, but also passions of others. If you're constantly thinking about how can you make an environment, as Freddie would tell me, whatever you do, don't mess up something that someone took decades to build. However, if you're going to think about how you're going to help others around you, be optimistic, be positive, and help drive the passions of others. If you're able to do that, your impact on the environment will be positive. Each day you will wake up happier. And as we always try to say, work, if you're passionate at work and what you do, it's never work at all. It's enjoyable. So with that, I will say I took the road less traveled. I love to tell people, I'm a Bama boy in Pittsburgh who wears bow ties, who took an approach from the first thing my father told me, of things could always be worse, understanding the importance of relationships, and never faltering on following your passion. So all I instill in you today is that I wish you the best. It is an honor and privilege to be with you. And if you are following your passions, I'm hopeful that these few messages and pearls and others that you have collected along the way and more will allow you to have a great journey on that road that is not always the most traveled, but is your journey for you. So thank you.
Thanks, Mac. We really appreciate your words of wisdom. We'll now acknowledge and extend congratulations to our students who will graduate with respective bachelor's, master's, and doctoral degrees from the University of Pittsburgh. Students, as your presenter calls your degree, please rise and proceed to the stage. As your name is called, you will proceed across and be recognized. We will now commence with the presentation of the 2022 graduating class of the School of Health and Rehabilitation Sciences.
Will those graduating from the Undergraduate Rehabilitation Science program with the degree of Bachelor of Science please come forward? Dean DeLito, upon the recommendation of the faculty who plan and teach in the undergraduate program in Rehabilitation Science, I have the honor to present the following students. Ethan Benner. Congratulations. Morgan Bittner. Bernice Lai. Olivia Miller. Lexi Nieves. Megan Pullman. Rachel Romano. Jordan Rosenheim. Congratulations. Bryn Smiley. Brian Swist. Lewis Warren. We would also like to acknowledge those students who could not join us today: Joanna Kwan, Matt Nowakowski, Rebecca Vengel. Congratulations to the Rehabilitation Science graduates.
Will those students graduating from the Department of Rehab Technology with a degree of Masters of Science in Clinical Rehabilitation and Mental Health Counseling please come forward? Dean DeLito, upon the recommendation of the faculty who plan and teach in the clinical rehabilitation and mental health counseling curriculum, I have the honor to present the following students. Yashin Lan. Danielle Turk. Congratulations to the clinical rehabilitation and mental health counseling graduates.
Will those graduating from the Department of Health Informatics with the degree of Master of Science in Health Informatics please come forward? Dean DeLito, upon the recommendation of the faculty who plan and teach in the Health Informatics curriculum, I have the honor to present the following students. Brittany Adams. Mason Fry. Patricia Hanna. Jesse Klug. Melissa Lindenmuth. Erica McCormick. Jane McGuire. Margaret Nagel. Ryan O'Kane. Aman Posipanka. Emily Russell. Deborah Smith. Logan Thompson. Samuel Vigiano. Theodore Vaika. We would also like to acknowledge those students who could not join us today. Haley Davidson, Samara Aizaz, Annie Kim, Shravan Kuragayalu, Hannah Wesley, Heidi Wiggins, and Brian Willie. Congratulations to the Health Informatics graduates.
Will those graduating from the Department of Physical Therapy with the degree of Master of Science in Physical Therapy please come forward? Dean DeLito, upon the recommendation of the faculty who plan and teach in the physical therapy curriculum, I have the honor to present the following students. Bayan Adhalwawi. Bushra Alfalfi. Nawaf Al-Masari. Garji Gadhani. Rafael Martin Barbosa. Pallavi Narakara. Akanksha Sanjay Pandit. Congratulations to the physical therapy graduates.
Will those graduating from the Department of Physician Assistant Studies with the degree of Master of Science in Physician Assistant Studies please come forward? Dean DeLito, upon the recommendation of the faculty who plan and teach in the Physician Assistant Studies curriculum, I have the honor to present the following students. Claire Allen. Judy Bollich. Dana Barlow. Caitlin Bausan. Naomi Blackburn. Devin Brodeen. Anna Maria Sermonara. Lauren Chaffetz. Hannah Chalaya. Lily Coutinho. Madeline Jakolski. Cassandra Dean. Molly DeSmith. Lauren Hamill. Sarah Hodge. Julia Hoffner. Eli Horowitz. Yiting Ferdi Huang. Whitney Huang. Halima Khan. Katie Neese. Bridget Kotek. Michael Kurtz. Catherine Marchessault. Kimberly McCoy. Paige Meskers. Jennifer Nasiri. Han Weng. Brianna Niedermeyer. Natalie Olivo. Mariama Oyefusi. Taylor Pisarchik. Lena Quigley. Mary Reed. Lauren Repack. Adam Reinhardt. Stephanie Shane. Prageshri Sharma Basyal. Hannah Shepard. Lauren Spear. Megan Stunya. Sadie Thompson. Diana Tran. Kevin Tuazon. Alexis Weinrich. Jeffrey Welch. Catherine Williams. Elizabeth Zuloff. We would also like to acknowledge those students who could not join us today. Aya Asadi, Dora Arose, Ruchi Patel, Logan Timmons, Jasmine Love, Kronali Mehta, and Nazmul Naeem. Congratulations to the Physician Assistant Studies graduates.
Will those students graduating from the Department of Occupational Therapy with the degree of Master of Science in Occupational Therapy please come forward? Dean DeLito, upon the recommendation of the faculty who teach and in the Department of Occupational Therapy curriculum, I have the honor to present the following students. Mutrik El Ajmi. Congrats. Wad Al Jurayed. We would also like to acknowledge a student who could not join us today, Max Koff. Congratulations to the Master of Science Occupational Therapy graduates. Will those students graduating from the Department of Occupational Therapy with the degree of Doctor of Clinical Science in Occupational Therapy please come forward? Dean DeLito, upon the recommendation of the faculty who plan and teach in the occupational therapy curriculum, I have the honor to present the following students. Donna Anderson. Congratulations, Dr. Anderson. Michaela Hayden. Congratulations, Dr. Hayden. Erica Von Eck. Congratulations, Dr. Von Eck. Kelsey Waters. Congratulations, Dr. Waters. Congratulations to the Doctor of Clinical Science and Occupational Therapy graduates.
Will those students graduating with the degree of Doctor of Philosophy please come forward? Dean DeLito, upon the recommendation of the faculty who plan and teach in the doctoral program, I have the honor to present the following students. Teresa Kreitzer, Committee Chair, Dr. Mita Lovalekar. Title of the dissertation, We'll Learn, Evaluation of an Internet-Based Healthy Lifestyle Behavior Intervention for People with Spinal Cord Injury. Congratulations, Dr. Kreitzer. Felix Prossel, Committee Chair, Dr. Sean Flanagan. Dissertation title, Time Course of Disuse-Induced Corticomotor Plasticity in Individual Human Brains, a Precision TMS Study. Congratulations, Dr. Prossel. Stephanie Rao, Committee Chair, Dr. Natalie Leland, hooded by Dr. Elizabeth Skidmore. Title of the dissertation, Understanding Real-World Practice of Cognitive Screening and Assessment by Therapy Providers in Post-Acute Care. Congratulations, Dr. Rao. Congratulations to the Doctor of Philosophy graduates. On behalf of the Alumni Society, I would like to reintroduce Cecilia Long to sing our alma mater.
of son and daughter, thou shalt conquer as of yore. Dear old Pittsburgh, alma mater, God preserve thee evermore.
Thank you, Cecilia. Be seated. On behalf of the faculty and staff of the School of Health and Rehabilitation Sciences, I offer heartfelt congratulations and best wishes to the class of 2022. It is also my pleasure to extend our congratulations to you for your individual accomplishments. If you are a member of today's graduating class and you have received an award, special honor, or any scholarship during your time with SHRS, please rise if you are able so that we may recognize your achievements. So rise. Thank you, and you can be seated. We conclude these ceremonies with a few additional acknowledgments and personal words of appreciation and a brief address to the class of 2022. On behalf of the students of the School of Health and Rehabilitation Sciences, we are grateful for our educators and our mentors, our cheerleaders and advocates. Will all the SHRS faculty please rise, if you are able, and receive the thanks and appreciation for everything that you do. I also want to take a moment to recognize Professor Emeritus George Carvel of the Department of Physical Therapy. This is the last graduation ceremony that George will be spending with us. He is a member of the he's been a member of the physical therapy faculty for 47 years. During this time, he has taught countless students how to navigate the complexities of neuroscience. Although he recently retired, George just published his book, Gray Matter on My Mind, Brains Wired for Survival and Success. It was a process that took him over 2 decades to complete. His colleagues and students refer to him as an innovator, a passionate educator, a great storyteller, and an honorable man. Thank you, George, for many years of service and for being a fantastic colleague. Congratulations on your official retirement. Let's recognize another important group of people for their contribution to our graduates' success. They often work behind the scenes, but without them, we would not be where we are today. Thank you to our many hardworking and dedicated SHRS staff. Will the staff please rise, if you are able, and accept our affirmation and appreciation. Staff rise. And finally, and I really do mean finally, I will ask our graduating students and faculty and staff of SHRS to join me in acknowledging the parents, family members, friends who have supported and encouraged our graduating students, culminating in their achievements we celebrate today. Will the families and friends of the graduating students please rise, if you are able, and receive our acknowledgement and appreciation. Our sincere thanks to you. As a closing message to our graduating class of 2022, do not become strangers to SHRS. Stay in touch and share with us your next bold move. As an SHRS graduate, you have been prepared to practice at the top of your license, to become leaders and advocates for improved patient care by going above and beyond expectations. Undoubtedly, your future accomplishments will drive new and meaningful change and strengthen our communities. Your achievements will always be important to us throughout your careers. As alumni and professionals, your success becomes SHRS success. As we now conclude this formal part of our celebration, I ask you to remain seated until the platform party and graduates have recessed. Thank you again for participation in the ceremony, but before we leave, please rise if you are able and join all of us in a special tradition, a song that you may recognize.
Where it began, I can't begin to knowing, but then I know it's growing strong. Wasn't the spring, and spring became the summer. Who'd have believed you'd come along? Hand, touching hands, reaching out, touching me, touching you. Sweet Caroline, good times never seem so good. I've been inclined to believe there never was, but now I look at the night and it don't seem so lonely. We fill it up with only two. And when I hurt, hurting runs off my shoulders. How can I hurt when holding you? Warm, touching warm, reaching out, touching me, touching you. Sweet Caroline, good times never seem so good. I've been inclined to believe there never would. Oh, no, no. can't begin to know it, but then I know it's growing strong. Wasn't the spring, and spring became the summer. Who'd have believed you'd come along? Hand, touching hands, reaching out, touching me, touching you. Sweet Caroline, good times never seem so good. I've been inclined to believe there never was, but now I look at the night and it don't seem so lonely. We fill it up with only two. And when I hurt, hurting runs off my shoulders. How can I hurt when holding you? Warm, touching warm, reaching out, touching me.